If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. What drew me to Kingdom Shell? Honestly, not much beyond the surface at first. The art direction grabbed me, the title had a cool ring to it, and learning it was made by a one-man development team definitely raised my eyebrow. If the trailer was any indication, pulling this off solo is a pretty impressive feat. I completely missed Kingdom Shell when it first launched on PC a couple years back, and now that it's hit consoles, specifically the Nintendo Switch, it felt like the right time to finally dive in and see what this dark fantasy Metroidvania is all about. So, what's the setup? You play as Elias, a half-demon prisoner in a kingdom whose magical protective shell has just shattered. Demons are pouring in, the church is doing absolutely nothing about it, and in a desperate move, the kingdom frees the very man they locked away, offering him a shot at freedom if he can save the realm that oppressed him. Sounds like a solid pitch, but does this tale of demonic redemption actually land, or is this shell not worth cracking?
Combat.
Kingdom Shell's combat is simplistic and very Momodora core, except instead of a leaf, Elias uses a pendant with a shard of black glass. This shard manifests into a claw-like appendage that Elias uses to shred his opposition, and his ground combo is very similar to that of Kohos or Momos from the Momodora franchise. You can even hold forward while attacking to advance during your combo. And Elias, just like the priestesses, has very little air game. Single hits with zero hang time. This isn't a negative critique, I'm just laying it out there. And because aerial enemies aren't that plentiful in this game, the limited aerial arsenal works just fine. Elias also gets a few spells to help tear through enemies, and they're pretty handy. He gets a simple yet very quick forward projectile, a bomb, and a buzzsaw or whatever that arcs like the axe subweapon from Castlevania. Each of these spells has utility in and off the battlefield, and they feel great to use. And since your MP regenerates automatically and at a pretty quick clip, I never felt restricted in using these spells. Generally, the magic system Kingdom Shell uses is one of my favorites. You never feel like you should hold back on your spells, so it felt good going ham on jabronis. For defensive options, Elias gets a roll with iframes and healing potions. And the healing potions might be a clincher for some people because they're consumables that do not replenish at save points like Estus flasks. Now, I know that sounds terrible, but it's not that bad. Firstly, you can find potions in the world and you can buy them from shopkeepers for cheap. And the game always places a shopkeeper outside of boss rooms. Secondly, you eventually unlock the ability to replenish healing potions at save points. So, though the healing potion situation isn't initially ideal, it improves as you progress. Plus, the game and its bosses really aren't that hard. Speaking of bosses, they're fine. And when I say fine, I mean that in a good way. Each boss presents a challenge, but they're not overly difficult. Personally, I feel they hit a perfect balance of challenge and punishment that fits well for the Metroidvania genre. There are a few in the mid to late game that may take a few tries, but you're not going to hit a wall and get frustrated. Though, the tank boss is kind of BS if you don't know how to approach it. And it's an early boss too, which may set unrealistic expectations for the rest of the bosses. Trust me when I say none of the other bosses are as annoying as the tank boss. My only real issue with Kingdom Shell's combat is the death mechanic. There's no corpse running, but I would have preferred it to what the game actually does. Whenever you die, you lose a portion of your money, and there's no way of getting it back. I don't know what the portion is, maybe 5%. It's not much, but it feels like a kick in the dick. That's it for combat. Kingdom Shell's combat is a tight, straightforward blend of Momodora-style ground combos, snappy spellcasting, and simple but reliable defensive options. The bosses strike a satisfying middle ground in terms of difficulty, and the magic system encourages aggression. The healing mechanic is a bit restricting in the early game, and the money lost death mechanic feels like the game just wants to add insult to injury. But even with these annoyances, the combat delivers a fast, crunchy rhythm that feels pretty dang great.
Abilities. Platforming.
Elias's general movement feels smooth, even though his walking animation looks a bit goofy in my opinion. Anyway, Elias's aerial movement feels fantastic, and I can't think of a single moment where the game didn't feel responsive and tight. I guess there were some issues with these bubble gimmicks when the game first released a couple of years ago. Apparently, how they launched you wasn't reliable, but I had no issues with these bubbles on my playthrough. Speaking of gimmicks, Kingdom Shell has plenty to play with. The aforementioned bubbles, bells and birds that activate platforms, levers, elevators, the whole shebang. Each biome has a little something for you to play with, and some of the platforming sections the game offers can be challenging. There's some interesting sections in the early game, but the offerings in the mid to late game can make you sweat. Overall, the platforming in Kingdom Shell is pretty excellent. The only underwhelming aspect is the lack of originality for traversal abilities. Elias gets a double jump and an air dash, and that's pretty much it. Every other utility skill he gains interacts with something in the environment, which is perfectly fine, but even these aren't bringing anything new to the table. Hitting out of range switches to unlock a door or bridge, using your bomb spell to blow up walls, stuff like that. Again, it's fine, just not something you haven't seen before. As for puzzles, Kingdom Shell does a pretty good job of putting in some brain teasers here and there to keep you engaged. There's nothing here that's going to stump you, I'm sure, but I appreciated the diversions and the payout for being observant and engaging with this world. The gnome treasury puzzle was clever, the dead man's lock was fun, and the puzzle with the witch was cool too. I love this kind of stuff in Metroidvanias and wish more did this. And that's going to be it for this section. Kingdom Shell's movement and platforming shine thanks to responsive controls, a variety of fun biome-specific gimmicks, and a handful of light but rewarding puzzles that keep each area engaging. The traversal abilities themselves are familiar, just a double jump and air dash, yet the game's clever use of environmental interactions and its steadily rising platforming challenge make the journey consistently satisfying. It's not reinventing anything, but what's here is polished, playful, and a genuine highlight of the adventure.
Progression.
Kingdom Shell leans into the Metroid-like side of the Metroidvania spectrum with a splash of Hollow Knight influence. There's no XP, leveling, or gear. Instead, Elias can find leaves and whatnot to permanently increase his max HP and MP, and he can find pink orbs called inspirations to give himself perks, much like the charms in Hollow Knight. Inspirations can be equipped at save points, and each inspiration costs a certain amount of points to equip. And of course, you can increase your inspiration points. To do this, you must find gnome tokens hidden throughout the world and take them to a gnome blacksmith. With each gnome token upgrade, your basic attack damage increases as well as your inspiration points. So, finding gnome tokens was always a big deal. And there are plenty of other shops scattered throughout Kingdom. Oh, the kingdom is actually called Kingdom, by the way. Anyway, you can buy all kinds of things depending on the shopkeeper. Key items for quests, leaves, inspirations, nectar, which is what the healing potions are called. One shop can make your magic spell stronger. There's even a shop that increases its offerings as you find black hares. Hares as in rabbits. They run a shop, and it's adorable. And the upgrades they give you are incredible, so keep your eyes peeled. I guess my point is, you collect gold in this game, and you have a lot of places to spend said gold. You also have a lot of side quests to complete if you're so inclined, and you should be so inclined because they give out excellent rewards, like optional boss fights that are very challenging and fun, gnome tokens, and useful inspirations. Most side quests are fetch quests like find an item and take it to an NPC, but there's variety in here too, like the tree side quest that has you hunting down and killing parasites. That's a cool quest with one of the most useful rewards in the entire game, so make sure you get it done. That's it for progression. Kingdom Shell's progression keeps things simple but satisfying, leaning on permanent stat boosts, inspiration perks, and the hunt for gnome tokens to drive your power curve. Shops are plentiful, and the game's many side quests offer some of its best rewards, from tough optional bosses to valuable upgrades. It's a streamlined, Metroid-like approach, but the steady drip of perks, purchases, and discoveries makes progression feel consistently rewarding.
Exploration.
Exploring Kingdom is, in a word, fun. It's mostly a very linear experience, but there is required backtracking that makes the biomes feel more like biomes than levels. As for the biomes, if not for the excellent art direction, I'd say they're kinda generic. The first biome is pretty unique, but its overuse of white makes everything feel washed out, and I'm afraid gamers might get a bad first impression. Apparently, the first biome was even more unpleasant at launch, but I guess it was updated since then, so I really can't speak to it. Personally, I dug the first biome, but then you get hit with a cave biome, and then a forest biome, and a fire biome, and you get a little uneasy. I was just waiting to get wowed as I trekked through this cavalcade of tropey biomes. Don't get me wrong, this game is beautiful regardless, but I was looking for something with some oomph. Then I finally got to Top City, and man, is this place beautiful. Finally, a biome that grabs my attention. Granted, it looks like something that would fit in Momodora or Bloodborne, but still, it's an incredible biome. Typically, I save discussions about art direction and beauty for the atmosphere and narrative section, but I wanted to bring it up in exploration because sometimes finding a biome is an exploratory reward, and that's how Top City felt to me. Of course, there are other interesting biomes, but I'll leave those for you to discover. When it comes to exploring Kingdom, it's pretty darn dense. There are so many hidden paths to find, secrets to uncover, side quests to complete, puzzles to solve, useful things to find like chests full of gold, leaves to increase your stats, gnome tokens and inspirations, and of course, the black hairs. And because you'll be unlocking new skills and finding new clues and quest items, you'll be zigzagging and revisiting areas pretty regularly, making this world feel organic. And all this backtracking is made easy thanks to the game's awesome fast travel. Fast travel is something that unlocks after a few hours, and it allows you to teleport to any save point you've unlocked. And the in-game map is pretty good. It's blocky, but it's color-coded, and you can mark it up. It's literally the bare minimum I want in a Metroidvania map, so no complaints. One thing I really liked about Kingdom Shell is that it does have moments when you get stuck and don't know where to go, and the best way to figure things out is to look at the map and see where you haven't been yet. It's a simple move, but highly effective and feels great when you figure things out yourself. And I may be weird, but I love it when I get stuck in an MV because I can't find that one thing to move forward, and then I find that thing, and then the world opens up the floodgates for me to ping pong all over the map. Kingdom Shell does this to great effect. That's it for exploration. Kingdom is a dense, rewarding loop of hidden paths, secrets, and side quest detours, all tied together by generous fast travel and a clear, markable in-game map. Biomes can feel familiar at first, but standout areas like Top City prove the world has real visual punch, and the steady flow of stat boosts, quest items, and inspirations keeps every revisit meaningful. It's a mostly linear journey, but one packed with enough discovery, diversions, and backtracking momentum to make the world feel alive and worth digging into.
Atmosphere, narrative.
Kingdom Shell is gorgeous. It has excellent pixel work, good animations, and the details in character designs and environments are impressive. My only complaint is that Elias's running animation looks a little goofy, in my opinion. But that did little to deter my admiration for this game's art direction. The art seems to be inspired by the Momodora series, but while that series' style feels intentionally low-res, Kingdom Shell's sprites and environments are much sharper. I already spoke about the generic, tropey fantasy biomes earlier, but I want to reiterate that they still look very good, with nice details, creative flair, and some parallax scrolling here and there, an old-school tactic that looks great to this day. I'm also a huge fan of the game's music. Some tracks gave this 80s fantasy movie feel I like so much, like something you'd hear in Dark Crystal or Labyrinth or Neverending Story. Not exactly phantasmagorical, as most of Kingdom Shell's tracks are upbeat, but there are notes of surrealism in some of these tracks. Take a listen to some of my favorites. I'm not saying you're going to put any of these on your workout playlist or anything, but they're still pretty great and were excellent at creating atmosphere. As far as the narrative goes, things are pretty straightforward. This world and its happenings will confuse you at first, but as long as you pay attention, you'll pick up on all the important stuff. The game has quote-unquote cutscenes, which are really just hallway exposition moments common in Castlevania games. And of course, there are item descriptions to flesh things out even more. Overall, I thought the story was pretty cool with some interesting characters here and there. May they be NPCs you can interact with, or bosses. I can't say I picked up on everything the game was putting down, like why is this thing called Dreaming of a Rose, and why does this Colossus despise the light? Details like that slipped past me, if they were even given, and if they weren't ever given, I'm cool with that too. Sometimes the best intrigue in surrealist fantasy comes from its unexplained strangeness. And to wrap things up, there's only one ending, which is a little disappointing given how captivated I was in this world and its implications. I'd be lying if I didn't feel like the ending left me high and dry, but that's only because I wanted to know more about this world and beyond. It's not a bad ending at all. It just left me wanting more. But isn't that how you're supposed to leave the audience in show business? And that's it for this section. Kingdom Shell delivers a striking blend of sharp pixel art, moody biomes, and an 80s fantasy-tinged soundtrack that gives the world real personality. The narrative is straightforward, but sprinkled with enough mystery and surreal detail to keep you leaning in, even when some answers remain intentionally out of reach. And while the single ending may feel a bit abrupt, the journey is atmospheric, intriguing, and memorable enough that wanting more feels like part of the experience.
Final thoughts and score.
Kingdom Shell is a sharp, stylish Metroid-like that thrives on tight combat, polished platforming, and a world packed with secrets and side quest rewards. Its biomes can feel familiar, and its single ending leaves a bit to be desired, but the game's excellent pixel art, moody soundtrack, and steady progression loop make the journey consistently engaging. It's a focused 10+ hour adventure that knows exactly what it wants to be and delivers it with confidence. I award Kingdom Shell an 8.5 out of 10. Kingdom Shell is available on PC and consoles. I played the Switch version with 0 technical issues.
Pair placement.
When it comes to where Kingdom Shell lands on the Metroidvania tier list, it's a textbook case of execution over innovation. Combat is familiar but punchy, abilities and platforming are classic double jump and air dash fare, the progression leans heavily into old school Metroid-like simplicity, and the exploration follows a mostly linear structure with well-placed secrets and backtracking. None of what Kingdom Shell does pushes the genre forward. In fact, most of it is old hat. But Kingdom Shell nails the fundamentals so consistently that I was glued to it from start to finish. It's a polished, confident adventure that keeps you engaged with lots of side quests and fun puzzles. And it looking and sounding good is just icing on the cake. Kingdom Shell dreams of a spot in the A tier. Kingdom Shell's combat simplicity paired with its responsive controls makes it a joy to play, and its creativity, excellent exploration, and meaningful progression loops keep you engaged till the very end. I can confidently say that this is one shell of a Metroidvania.